Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh, and this is your stimulus check update for the next stimulus package for Sunday, February 28th. I hope everyone is off to a good and safe start to their Sunday so far. In this video, I'll be discussing updates in regards to the current relief package and the third stimulus check. I'll also be discussing the $1,400 direct payments, what we can expect from here as far as the reconciliation bill goes. And then I'll be wrapping up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. But first, if you wouldn't mind real quickly liking this video, give me a big thumbs up. It really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of pushing this video out to other viewers like you and hopefully helping other people like you as well. Okay, so with the $1.9 trillion relief package passing in the House and now headed off to the Senate, President Biden said there was no time to waste in passing this bill and getting it signed into law. In a statement, Biden said, quote, "If we act quickly, decisively, and boldly, we can finally get ahead of this virus and we can finally get our economy moving again. The people of this country have suffered far too much for too long. We need to relieve that suffering." Of course, before the Senate holds a vote and passes the bill through their chamber, it is expected that they will make some necessary amendments to the bill. Once these amendments are made, if the Senate passes the bill, it'll need to be sent back to the House once again for their final approval. One of these changes expected to be made is to eliminate the provision that would increase the federal minimum wage up to $15 per hour. This is because a recent ruling by the Senate parliamentarian made it so they couldn't include that provision in the bill. In its place, they're going to have a measure that will penalize big companies for not increasing their pay by imposing a 5% penalty on their total payroll. Then, if those companies continue choosing not to increase their pay, the penalty will increase even more over time. So basically, there's still going to be a penalty for larger corporations not increasing their pay, even though there won't actually be a legal requirement for them to do so. Also, it's expected that the Senate will amend the portion of the bill regarding the increased child tax credit, where they'll change some of the language. In the current bill, they make it so the child tax credit payments will be distributed on a monthly basis. However, some Democratic senators fear that Republicans will be able to challenge this and it'll be struck down. Instead, they're going to simply advise the payments to be distributed periodically, which means there won't be any set timeframes on when the payments will be sent out. So, instead of these payments being sent out on a monthly basis, families may only be receiving them every 2 to 6 months, for example. Let's wait and see. Other than those amendments, many more are expected to be offered as well. In the House, for example, one amendment was offered by Republican Representative Ashley Hinson, who wanted to redirect $100 billion in funding for a public transit expansion to Silicon Valley and California towards mental health programs for students. In a tweet, Hinson said, "Democrats' spending bill sends $140 million to Speaker Pelosi's pet subway project in California. This is Washington pork spending at its worst. My amendment would take away this carve-out and redirect this money to mental health programs for students. Hashtag students over subways." Of course, this amendment was struck down by House Democrats, and they ended up keeping the initial measure in the bill. Then, another amendment already being offered is by Republican Representative Paul Gosar. His amendment would be to increase the direct payments from $1,400 up to $10,000 for Americans most affected by the lockdowns. In a tweet, Gosar said, "Only 9% of Pelosi's $1.9 trillion plan is related to the virus. I offered an amendment providing $10,000 in stimulus to Americans most affected by the virus and lockdowns. Democrats chose foreign aid, big tech transit, and Pelosi's political priorities over direct relief for Americans." Now, this is something that I think many people could get behind. Gosar also tweeted, "Government ordered the shutdown and broke the back of the economy. Break it, buy it. Americans need help with car payments, mortgage, rent, and everyday necessities. The people, not government, corporations, or billionaires, need this help. Consider $10,000 a down payment." With this, it's very hard to disagree. After the government shutting the entire economy down, forcing many people to lose their jobs and small businesses, the people should absolutely come first. But, unfortunately, other politicians just don't see it that way. In addition to those amendments, we should definitely expect to see many more, but most of what's already in the bill should remain the same. This includes the direct payments of $1,400 and the extension of the unemployment benefits at $400 per week through the end of August. Okay, so at this point in time, it's Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's hope that they're able to finalize all these changes and have it on the floor for a vote at some point this week. If they're able to do so and get all 50 Democrats on the same page, which may be harder said than done, then they should be able to have it passed through their chamber at latest by the end of this week. Their biggest challenge will be to get Democratic Senators Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema on board with their proposed changes regarding the minimum wage. Considering they were opposed to the increase to $15 per hour, it's unclear whether or not they'll be fine with imposing penalties on businesses that don't increase their wages. Let's wait and see. Furthermore, once or if the Senate passes the amended bill through their chamber, as I mentioned, at that point, it'll be sent off to the House for their final approval. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has already signaled that Democrats will still be able to pass the bill through their chamber, even with the $15 per hour measure removed from the bill. So, if the Senate sends the bill back to the House by this weekend, they should be able to get it passed fairly quickly. From there, it'll be sent off to President Biden's desk to be signed into law, which means the next round of direct payments should begin to go out a few days after that. In the meantime, while we wait for these changes to be made and for the bill to be signed into law, all we can continue to do is hang in there, stay strong, and hope for the best. Okay, so at this point in time, I'm going to move right along to answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. And if you do have any other comments or questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to answer as many of the comments and questions as I possibly can, but for those comments and questions I'm not able to respond to, I do try to pick some of the more popular ones to answer in the next video in video form. Okay, so without further ado, let me go ahead and jump into the first comment of this video, which is from Ali. Ali says, I already filed my taxes. What happens now regarding my child tax credit, which increased to $3,600? Okay, thank you so much for your question, and I'm definitely glad that you already knocked out your taxes for this year. As far as the increased child tax credit goes, that's actually going to be an advance credit for the tax filing season of 2022. So instead of claiming the credit next year, you'll be receiving the money in advance this year. These payments will most likely begin in July, and they're hoping that they will be going out on a monthly basis. Okay, moving right along to the next comment video, which is from Nikki. Nikki says, if my 17-year-old turns 18 in November, will we not receive the monthly child tax credit for him? Also, we have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old. Would the child tax credit be $500 per month? Okay, thank you so much for your question, and unfortunately, your 17-year-old son would not be included in these increased child tax credit payments. This is because in order to be eligible, he would have needed to have been 17 on December 31st of this year, and since he turns 18 in November, he would barely be missing the cutoff. However, your two other children would qualify, and you are correct that you should be receiving $500 per month. Of course, as I mentioned before, instead of sending these payments out on a monthly basis, they may end up sending them out periodically instead, so you could end up receiving them every 3 to 4 months, for example. If that's the case, of course, you would end up receiving $1,500 or $2,000 per payment. Alright, moving right along to the next comment video, which is from Brian. Brian says, what's the status of evictions? Okay, thank you so much for your question, Brian, and at the moment, there is an eviction moratorium issued by the CDC, which places a temporary halt in residential evictions through March of this year. However, just recently, a federal judge in Texas ruled that the federal moratorium on evictions is actually unconstitutional. This all started when a group of landlords and property owners in Texas sued the CDC and the Department of Health and Human Services back in October. Because of this ruling, it is expected that the CDC will withdraw their moratorium in their particular cases, at least. However, the Justice Department has already filed an appeal on that case as they disagree with the decision that was made. Now, even if that particular ruling stands, it won't be extended beyond that case ruled, so it does not force the CDC to withdraw the eviction moratorium on other properties as well. Okay, moving right along to the next comment video, which is from Claude. Claude says, my mom and I get SSDI. Will the stimulus check be deposited into our account? Okay, thank you so much for your question, and yes, you should both end up receiving $1,400 each for the next relief payment. These payments should also be deposited into the same account that you normally receive your Social Security benefits, and I would expect that you will receive it within 1 week after the bill is signed into law. Alright, so on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this video, and you'd like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is completely free to do so, and it's a great support to me. Also, if you'd like to receive 4 free stocks from Webull, with 2 of them valued all the way up to $1,600 each, or 1 free stock from Robinhood, just for signing up and linking your bank account, please feel free to claim those free stocks by clicking the link in the description box below. And finally, if you join Rakuten with my referral link in the description box below and spend at least $20, Rakuten will give you $20 cash back. This means you can buy an item through Rakuten with one of their referral links, such as Nike, for $20, and Rakuten will give you $20 just for making that purchase. This is just an incredible deal that I would love for everyone to take advantage of. Okay, so until next time, I'll see you guys, and I hope you have a great day today.